we're going to do is we are finished having the snake being a box and moving around eating the apple. We have it so that they go off the screen, or if they run into each other, or if they run into itself, I should really say, game's over. The only thing now is that we have to do is just add some images. So I actually have images that I've downloaded already and that I will share so that you can use them as well. And you can find them attached below. So just take a second and download them. And what you should really do is you should put them in a folder. So you should create a folder on your desktop or wherever it is that you're storing this information or this program. And you should store in the same folder as this program, make something called image. So a new folder that says img image, and that's what we're going to be using. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So the first thing is we're going to come up on top here and we're going to have to import a module, and we're going to say from OS import path. Okay, so from this module OS we're going to strictly just be using path, and down here, okay, away above the classes and all the way at the beginning, we will make a new like section, and we'll call these images and sounds. Okay, this is otherwise known as assets. And from here, I'm gonna write out what the code is gonna look like, and then I'll try to explain how it's gonna be working. Okay, or maybe I'll just do it folder by folder. So the first thing I'll say game folder. Okay, this is essentially the folder where you're going to be storing all of your images, your sounds, the main program, sprites, whatever it is that you're making. Okay, and we're going to say this is going to be path dot dir name score file, like this. Okay, and this is the path to the folder of your game, right? So path dot, this is going to it's going to find a specific folder. So dir name, dir actually stands for directory, which is the folder name, and this is what we're going to use to find that. After that, we'll say image folder. Okay, so this is going to be a folder that's containing all the images within the overall game folder. Okay, we're going to say path dot join. Okay, now just think about what that means, path.join. That means that we're going to be joining two things. So we're going to be joining the game folder along with the name of the folder that stores the images. Okay, so this is going to be game folder. So essentially, what we're asking it to do is, hey, can you go and can you find the game folder? Okay, that has the storage, the name storage images. And once it does that, now we can write a game. So let me just show you really quickly how that works. Right, it's like I have all my stuff stored on my desktop. So like let's say we have like these random things that I have stored on my desktop. This path.dir name for the file comma images. Well, I'm going to be having everything inside of my Snake game file. Okay, so automatically wherever this program is being run, it's going to go straight here. And then after that, it's going to open up the Snake game, and it's going to look for the folder, my image folder that says images, and it's essentially joining. Okay, it's joining these two together. All right. Then after that, I will have inside of my image folder an apple and a snake head, and so that's essentially what we're going to be doing. So over here, I'm going to say now snake image is equal to. Now Pygame already has something for this. If you go to this Pygame documentation, at the top, it's going to say image. And when we click on that, it's going to open up a whole bunch of methods within this module. So the first one says pygame.image.load, which is what we're going to be using to load a new image from a file. So this is going to be path.join. Okay, I'm sorry, not path.join. Pygame.image.load. Okay. And then inside of here, what are you loading? Well, we're going to join, okay, path.join, two things. We're going to first we're going to go to the folder, the image folder, and then once we're inside of that image folder, we're going to select the exact name of the image that we want to use. So that's going to be image underscore folder, comma, and we're going to write this as a string now, okay, in quotes, the name of the file. Now, the name of the file that I chose to have it as is snake_head.png. Okay, and I'm just going to go back to this piece here, and you'll see that this is exactly what I have here, snake_head.png, and that's going to open up this file right here, this image, sorry. Perfect. Okay, so once we do that, if you were to run the program, nothing would happen. Okay, even though we've already uploaded the image and we saved it to a variable, we get this error, which that means I just totally messed up. So path.join. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just run that again to make sure that there aren't any more errors. But that should have just been the only basic one. Okay, great. So everything runs, it works perfectly fine, but there's no snake. And to change that image, we're gonna go down to the snake class. And here is where the temporary image was being used, or was being kept. So we no longer need this surface, okay, which is the little box that we were using. We're gonna just delete that. And we're gonna use snake image, okay? So we're gonna just use snake image. And this is going to grab whatever it is that we were calling. And since it already comes filled with its own graphics, we no longer need to fill that object. So we're going to go ahead and just erase that out. Okay. Now, when I go to run this, and this is going to happen quite often, is sometimes it's going to load and it just says game over. Now you see the score is getting, it went like to 1 and then the game's over, right? Why is that happening? Well, that's because the image that we're loading right now is just way too big. It's probably bigger than the actual window that I have. So it loads the image, and then immediately when it loads it, it's so big that it's already out of bounds, calling a game over. So the way that we're going to do that is we need to reduce or resize this image. And luckily, there's actually something here in Pygame for that called, if you go to the transform, and it says pygame.transform.scale. Okay, so we're going to be resizing to a new resolution, and we can do that right here. So snake image is equal to pygame.transform.scale. Okay, and if you're not sure how to use this, it actually tells you, click on it, it tells you what it is that you want to scale. So our surface is going to be the image. So we're going to want to rescale our image, which was snake_image, that's this guy. Okay, and comma, we're going to write a width and a height. So if I chose 20, 20, which is the original size of that pygame.surface box that we were using, let's see what's up. Okay, now notice that there are 2 parentheses here. I had to close it off. Okay, and if I go now and I try to run this, let's see if anything pops up. Okay, so we see it might be really small. We see him right there. He's right there. He's super small. Obviously, a 20 by 20 is definitely not what we're looking at. That's way too small for this little snake. So what we're going to do is we're going to just maybe increase that to possibly 40. All right, and let's see if that looks okay. Perfect. So that's our snake. Right? It's an actual snake moving around eating it. Now, there are little things that we're going to have to fix, as you can see. Okay, but this is like the general idea of what it looks like, and we can do the exact same thing and just grab an apple while we're at it. So let's go ahead and just do an apple image. Again, we're going to load it by using pygame.image.load. Okay, and we're going to be joining, okay, 2 things. So we're going to be joining the image folder. It's the folder containing the images, and the name of this image was apple.png. Notice that the .png is inside of the quotes. Okay, so it's going to call this, it's going to look for this exactly. And when I do this, I'm going to go down to our apple image, and here's the .fill. We don't need that anymore. And self.image, we're just going to put apple image. Let's go ahead and run that. Hopefully that's not too big for the screen. Let's see what's okay. Well, that is a massive apple. Okay, so we have to go ahead and just resize that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do that here. Apple image is equal to pygame.transform.scale. I want to resize this apple image, and I'm going to put, I don't know, let's do 40/40. Okay, you're gonna have to play around with this a little bit. Play around with it until it's like the right size that you want it to be at. So yeah, that works for me. Okay, so oh man, so we now have a working, kind of like a working game in a way, right? Very basic. Obviously there are things that we are going to have to change here. One of those things actually is, let me see if I can show it to you. I'm gonna go ahead and just change this white background to black. Okay, and I'm gonna show you why. Now on a white background, you're not gonna see it. On a black one, you probably should. Yeah, you see that right there? See that big rectangle that's around the apple? We don't want that there. Okay, and so we want to get rid of that. And maybe let's see if the apple has one. I'm gonna change it to blue. We'll see, does the apple have one? Okay, so the apple looks like it's good, doesn't have anything, and you see that when the rectangle touches it, that's why it's moving. It's not the actual snake that's really touching it, right? So actually we can probably just take care of that right now. So I'm gonna change this back to white, right? Or rather, I'll keep it as black. And so there was a white spacing around the snake that to fill that rectangle. So the way that we're gonna get rid of that is we're gonna go up to the snake here, and we're going to use something called self. Oop, not there. I like to keep it right in this area. Self.image dot, here we go, set underscore color key. Now what this does is you're going to choose a color, and whatever color it is that you choose, it's going to find that within the image, and it's going to just make it transparent. Okay, so it's like it's not even going to be there, you won't even see it. So self.image, okay, dot set underscore color key. And now if I go ahead and I do this, and I'll keep the black screen so we will be able to see it, you should see now that it's not there. Okay, so you see it's not there anymore. Okay, now obviously I do see like a little pieces around there that was the shadow that came with this image. Okay, so we'll have to fix those things. But overall, you see that we are having a working game. It's coming together. All right, so that is when change this back to a white background. And that's all that we'll be doing for this one. I'll see you in the next one.